From the combined crew of blindandroidusers.com and accessibleandroid.com, it's time for your favorite Android podcast. Kick back now and enjoy another fine episode from these fanboys and gals as they navigate Android from a blindness perspective. And now, here's your crew.
Hello and welcome to episode 263 of the Blind Android Users Podcast. I'm Ed Green, and I'm joined today by my co-hosts Warren Carr, John Dyer, Sally Kunders, and Kareem Kiwan. But more importantly, we're joined by listeners because this is the 5th anniversary of this podcast. We have listeners and developers on today, and it's a chance to reflect on what we've achieved over the past 5 years, talk about where we are, and also to remember some dear absent friends. I'm going to turn it over to Warren in a minute, the co-founder. But first of all, let's see who we've got on the podcast. I'll talk us down the list of names, and maybe you can say a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and anything else you want to add, maybe about how you discovered the podcast. I'll leave that up to you. So I'll start with Alexis.
My name is Alexis, and I'm a Louisiana girl, and I started with Android 3 years ago, and I've been dedicated ever since.
Excellent.
And I'm a little bit of a collector.
Oh, excellent. Good to hear that. Perhaps you can tell us further in the episode what you've got. Now we've got one of our co-hosts, so I will randomly pick who might be signed in as Blind Android Users. I will go to Warren.
Hi, guys. Bad time, Ed, because I was just trying to drink my tea. And anyway, so Austin and I, the late Austin and I, started Blind Android Users back in 2020, and it's to the exact day today since we got it started. So I'm glad to be here. I'm out here in the state of Washington. And thank you guys so much for coming in to participate with us. This is beautiful.
Thank you, Warren. I'm going to go to Dan next.
Hey, I'm Dan from Ohio, and I found Blind Android Users, I think, on YouTube, so I know Austin would have loved that. And I was able to listen to episodes back when he was still with us, up until the point that he's in another place now. So then I was so intrigued by the podcast that I went back and started at the very beginning. And so the podcast has definitely grown since its inception, and now we're at 5 years. So yay, podcast.
Absolutely. And I believe there's a musical that recommends us to start at the very beginning because it's a very good place to start, is there not? Dave Craig.
Hi there. I'm Dave Craig. I live just north of Glasgow in Scotland. It's been a nice, clear, sunny day today, so that's better than every day for the last month. So I volunteer with Scottish Tech Army. I developed the Soundscape for Android app. So I'm pretty new to the Blind Android podcast. I think Warren reached out about 4 months ago when we went live on the Play Store. So that's me.
Absolutely. And we would walk 500 miles and we would walk 500 more to get Soundscape back on Android, to be honest. And Soundscape will absolutely guide us right to our door. Etc. I'm going to go to Eric now.
Hello, I'm Eric from Germany, and I'm an Android developer too. And I was on the podcast, I think it was last year. And that went great. And so I thought I'd just promote another app to you. And now, amazingly, 1 hour ago, I got an invitation for that podcast, and I thought, okay, bit short notice, but yeah, why not? And so, yeah, I'm here again.
Excellent. Great to have you with us, Eric. Now I'm going to go to Herrick.
As this is Harith, I'm all over the place. I'm originally born and have been in Iraq most of my life and currently in Algiers, Algeria. I started with Android back in 2012 and been doing most of the things that people do with Android. I love the way we can customize it, root it, install custom ROMs, early days, and I've been stuck with since then. And I've been always a little higher tone, sound, objecting about lots of practices from big companies. And some people don't have a liking to my way of doing things, but somebody had to do what I'm doing, because if we all like, nicey and clapping, hugging, well, the development would be much slower. So there you go.
The ever
And
difficult
I'll
and
take you out.
self-effacing
I'll
Herrick.
take you out to chastise you. But Eric, Harith, rather, actually was one of our first co-hosts for our NTAD. So don't forget that. Going back to 2019, you were part of that. So just want to throw that in there.
Excellent. Let's now go to
Thanks,
Jacob.
brother.
Okay, can you hear me? My microphone working now?
It is Jacob, yeah.
Okay, good. Well, a lot of you guys know me from a lot of different mailing lists. I've been around since the older mailing lists, and I've recorded a couple of demos for you guys, but you basically all know me as the mad blind biker from South Africa.
Great to
Yeah.
have you with us. Now we'll go to John.
It's me, John Dyer from Virginia.
Now we'll go to Karine.
Hello, this is Karine Kiwan from Lebanon. Thank you all for joining us.
And next to Mackenzie.
Hello, everybody. This is Mackenzie Parker from Sierra Vista, Arizona. And, well, I've been an Android user for a while. And there goes my alarm that I did not mean to go off. Hang on. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, everybody. Continuing. I have started my Android life on a Braille Note Touch, and I kind of found the Blind Android Users podcast quite literally by accident, because I was looking at a clip where you guys were showing off TTS engines, and it was you, it was Warren, it was the late Austin, and it was also Miriam, I think. I think that there was probably someone I missed, but I can't remember everybody. Sorry. But so I was listening to that little short, and then I decided, this podcast seems interesting, so I'm gonna listen to a few of their episodes, because I was listening on YouTube, and I kind of liked it, so I decided to listen on and on and on and on for, I think it was since 2021 or 2. I think it was 2021 or 2022. I can't remember. But wow, 5 years. That is a huge accomplishment, I must say. I'm here to support it. I'm here to support all of it. And
Right, and
yeah.
it's great to have you with us, Mackenzie. Thanks very much. And to Melanie.
Hi, everyone. I'm Melanie. I've been with the Code Factory team for almost 20 years now. why are we here? What do we have to do with Android? I don't know if there's old people on this podcast as well that might remember that we were actually the company that brought out the first accessibility suite for Android back in, was it 2011, 2010, like almost 15 years ago. And now, after then having Google take over to do their great accessibility themselves, and we're at least now happy that we could launch Eloquence again for Android, and this time in the 64-bit version. So yeah, I'm excited that we are back on Android, and glad that you invited us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Melanie, and we are all excited about that too. Next is Sally.
Greetings, everyone. This is Sally from Turkey. I'm so glad to be part of this Blind Android Users podcast since episode 116, and also co-founder of Accessible Android. Really happy to have you guys with us for the 5th year of anniversary of the Blind Android Users podcast. I'm using Android for years and years, for over 12 years, and I'm so proud of it.
And finally, I think for now anyway, I want to ask Salvis to say hello.
Hey, I'm Salvis. I'm from Latvia. Yeah, I'm using Android since, I think, 2012. And I was introduced to Blind Android Users podcast last summer, 2024, when I was visiting my friend in Ohio, who now lives in Washington State. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here, and happy anniversary.
Thank you, Salvis. And we'll pick up anyone else who joins and get them to introduce themselves as that happened. So it only feels right that I ask Warren to reflect as our co-founder on the 5 years before we open it up. Warren, please.
Thank you so much, Ed. It's been a rough going when we first started. I know Sally always wanted to rub it in, play that very first episode of the podcast. Sally, I thought I was going to do that, but then I'm kind of still feeling a little bit embarrassed. So
well, you don't have to be. We should remind ourselves where we came from.
Exactly. But so just for the sake of it, I will patch it in here. So if anyone want to listen later on, it's going to be part of this immediately after I'm done talking, or maybe toward the end, I'll patch it in when I'm editing all of this. But yeah, it's been a long journey, starting back December 2020. That's when Austin and I got started, and we started talking about it on the 18th. And I think our first episode went out that day, or the 19th or the 20th. So this marks that 5th anniversary to the exact date when we got started. And so I'm so thankful that through it all, and we've seen a lot of hardships and all of that, and thank God we are still here. And when Austin went home, departed, passed away, whatever language you want to use, last year, it hit me really hard. And it's like, gosh, what are we going to do? But thank God, like they always say, there's always going to be someone that rises up to fill that empty spot. And so I'm thankful for the crew in general, John, Karen, Sally, and Ed. You guys have been rock solid in making sure that we still exist regardless of what happens and all of that. So I'm most thankful to you guys first for doing what you do and keeping up with what we need to get done. And so I'm mighty thankful to all of you guys, mighty proud of you guys. And then most importantly to the listeners, because if you don't have listeners, then all that work that you do and all that labor is in vain. And I want to particularly thank all of you that are listening to us, because you have made this to be what it is. And I'm so thankful to all of you. And my experience, or my expectation, I should say, is that I'm hoping, though, that we'll have more years to come and that we'll continue to grow. And most especially, Austin was into that YouTube. He was so much into YouTube. And so if you were alive today, he would be so proud of it because we've kind of grown there on the YouTube viewership. And if you're listening to us and hearing our voice, you need to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And so I want to thank you all for making Blind Android Users Podcast what it is. And again, thank you, crew members. You guys have been absolutely wonderful. Thank you. So what I would like us to do now, Ed is having some technical difficulties. I want each of our crew to kind of reflect on these years since they joined us. John, let's start with you. How about we start with you when you joined us? If you remember, it's been such a long time. But if you remember, give us a little bit of a walk down that memory and
So,
all that experience.
I remember not by date, but by phone. And I remember I had the Z Fold 4, I think, when I joined. So that must have been 3 years ago. I remember I had done an unboxing and submitted it so that you guys could include it in the podcast, because I had been a listener for probably at least a year at that point. And you had me on as a guest, and you loved me so much you invited me back permanently. So
I did. That's my brother from another mother out there. Loves Android.
And what the best part, I don't know if you realize this or not, but inside baseball, as they call it, you invited me to the Telegram group, and you had the settings for the group set to show the entire history, even for new members. So I got to see you where you had brought it up to them, and everyone else's response, whether or not I should be invited.
Oh my gosh.
So
That
it was
terrible.
luckily nobody objected. So yeah, I was happy to be included. I was very excited. And I've been around for, I guess it's been over 3 years now. And you know, when we unfortunately lost Austin, he had already taught me, you know, how to add chapter markers to the podcast with Reaper. He had taught me how to upload things to YouTube, because every once in a while, I mean, he was very diligent, but every once in a while, he, like when he was hospitalized or something, he could not get to it, and he asked me to do it for him. So I kind of had a good idea of, you know, how to get that stuff done. And, you know, ever since he's passed, I just kind of took on, you know, his responsibilities. But yeah, we definitely miss him.
And this is why it just continued as though nothing had happened, even though we lost Austin. But you are there to fill in that spot, and that's what I was talking about. Sally Boy, let's go to you now and reflecting on this and how far we've come. You remember those days, my boy?
I really remember those days. When I first joined here for the podcast, it was to tell everyone the legendary Android journey story, where I needed to like remove the battery. This is one of the favorite.
That's one of my favorite stories.
So this is one of the favorite like episodes that I can tell. So since then, after some episodes, I joined as a co-host at episode 116. So I'm really happy to be here ever since then. It's more than 2 years and a half. Austin was so happy when I joined here. He was always messaging me, come on, you should be here. You should be really showing off yourself. You're doing a great job. You're doing your website, and you should be part of the podcast. He was more happier than me being here. He was so excited. You know, I was really happy to be here just because of he was really doing a great job there. Like, he was telling me, okay, I messaged Warren. He's really happy to have you here. I didn't even tell him. So that's one of the days. Like, I didn't say the history about me, as John said, when I joined the crew. So I don't know what you guys thought about me coming here. But
I think Austin and I just had a back and forth, and you know how we wanted you on here, and most especially And then, very importantly, we join hands with you guys, and you guys,
Exactly.
we're being like sisters, both the accessible Android and blind Android users. So we're together. If you like the written content, you want to look at accessibleandroid.com,
You know,
and that's where you find all the
I
written
mean,
stuff.
okay, I'm part of this, but seeing from an outsider perspective, we are doing a great job. We joining hands together. Like since 2.5 years, it's really progressing well. The podcast is doing great. The website is doing great. So we just get it from one another. We are really getting strength from one another. This is something great that we're doing so far. And I'm really grateful. And I'm sure Austin will be so happy to see what we've become on the website, on the podcast, on the YouTube channel. He was so excited for the content. Like when he was seeing an article on the website, he was like, "Oh, there's another article. Like I'm reading it. I'm so happy about it." He was like more than happy for him. Like we were happy too, but he was happier than anyone else. Like, don't you see it? That was great from him.
It is. And I always wish that he had a kid, so we would have that kid here when he's grown up to see what his dad was part of. But anyway, that's one of those things. We saved the last for best, or the best for last. Of course, that's assuming that Ed is not back. Karen, girl, let's go to you out there in beautiful Lebanon and start talking to us about when you join us here on the Blind Android Users.
Well, I became officially one of the crew members. I think that was in April 2023. Well, before I did a few demos for the podcast, and it started all as like it was a personal challenge. This is maybe the first time that I talk about this. I'm a person who has an issue with my voice. So I always said that I'm not ready to do demonstrations or to be live in podcasts or such things. So then there was a conversation on the IceFree mailing list, and you were talking about the file managers on the podcast, and I said, okay, you missed the one that I like the most, my favorite one. And you said, Warren, you said, okay, so you go ahead and just demonstrate it for the podcast. I was like, okay, what about taking this challenge and doing this to challenge myself before anything else? So it went like that, and I did the demo. And actually, I don't know how, but it's one of the most viewed video audios of the podcast on YouTube. And well, I still more a person who likes to write messages, not to use voice messages. And I still consider every episode that I join a challenge to myself to just become more confident about my communication skills with respect to being like in a podcast. It's not easy actually, but I see myself more into written content. And I want to say that I'm really glad to be a part of Accessible Android, to be a co-founder with my teammate and friend, Saleh. And of course, I want to thank all the other team members as well. Well, it has been a great journey with Accessible Android. And I think that we have reached things or levels that we didn't even think about maybe when we started. And I hope that both the podcast and the Accessible Android website, they will just keep progressing and keep advancing and keep helping people. And yeah, it has been really a great journey, actually.
Thank you so much, Karen. That's a wonderful story. And like I always said, when I first heard you, I'm like, I want that girl on, because you reminded me so much of some lady here from Lebanon named Bridget Gabriel. And I'd always loved her voice and like how she was just precise on whatever she does. And so you remind me so much of her. And so I'm like, it's a great talent we got here. So we're so happy to have you and all that you do for us. And with the Confused screen reader, and for those of you in Rio Linda, that's Jisho screen reader, or let Austin refer to it as a Joshua screen reader. So thank you so much, Karen, for all the work that you do. And we couldn't be who we are today without you. And so I just want to again thank all of you crew members. Ed, if you are here with
I
us,
am back.
could you?
I am here.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what happened, how you got here, and all of that. Unfortunately, we lost you earlier there, so I took your role, and so now you go ahead and tell us about when it was that you got on here with Blind Android Users Podcast.
Yeah, so like some of the others, like John and like Sally, I was originally telling my Android journey story, and then you, Warren, invited me to be co-host. And I was trying to work out when that was, and I started doing the show notes in episode 13, but I'd come on a couple of podcasts before that, I think. I can't quite remember which
You
was.
joined us you joined us in February of 2021. That's all
right.
I can remember.
Yeah, I can't remember which episode number it was, and I was trying to look it up. It was before episode.
It was 13.
No, it was
think
before
it was episode
13.
13.
So that was when I did the show notes, and I listened back to 12, and I was on then, and I was trying to like scroll back to see when it was, but I didn't quite make it. I think it must have been 10 or 11, but early days, and it was COVID times, of course. So everyone was at home, which is kind of interesting because, you know, normally I've missed a few for various reasons, but I had a good run at the start when I wasn't allowed to go anywhere on a Saturday.
Well, thank you so much, Ed, for being with us. And, you know, basically you've been with us since, gosh, maybe when we were barely like a month old, somewhere in there. So definitely we're thankful to you and all that you've been doing for us, and especially for our listeners and for blind Android users in general. Now, cede back the role to you, and you keep us rolling as maybe you'll call on our developers and say a word or two about their apps and all of that, and then we'll open up the party.
That sounds great, and I will turn to a couple of the developers to talk about what got them into Android. I might start with Dave and Melanie. That there have been clamours for your apps to be on Android, and Eric, we're obviously very grateful to yours as well. But Dave, perhaps could you tell us a little bit about the history of Soundscape and how the Tech Army came to sort of take it over, and what you were up to in that intervening time period?
My name's Dave Craig, so I volunteer with the Scottish Tech Army. The Scottish Tech Army organises various volunteers doing tech stuff for quite a lot of smaller charities. And about 4 years ago, when Microsoft Research was shutting down the servers for iOS Soundscape, they got in touch with them. They already had contact with them, and so some other folks in the Scottish Tech Army took over running the servers and building the app, and so keeping it running on iPhone. And then about 18 months ago, I'd retired from my day job, and so was looking for some volunteering stuff to do. And at that point, there was just a kernel of starting some work on doing Soundscape for Android. So there'd obviously been lots of people had been requesting it. Scottish Tech Army has lots of connections with different charities, so like the Guide Dogs for the Blind in the UK, Seascape, which is a small charity in Fife in Scotland. And so there lots of requests for Android version of Soundscape to come in. So 18 months ago, I started doing it from thinking I was going to just do a little bit on the audio stuff, and then 18 months later, I'm still here, and we launched Soundscape on the Play Store 4 months ago, I'm going to say, around about that, thinking it would be nice and quiet. We'd just do a little launch, get a few testers, keep going, and then I think the first person we heard from was Warren and the Blind Android Users group, and suddenly we had real users. And so yeah, that's how it got started. And since that, since the initial thing, we've got lots of feedback from users. We've added a lot of language support. So one of the important things for the Android version is that it's a worldwide app. iPhone is quite US centric. Lots of places, Android is by far the number one. So India, 95% mobile users are Android. So adding language support. So since we launched, we've added Farsi, Arabic, Polish, Russian, Ukrainian, Icelandic. Got somebody in Nepal who is very keen to add Nepalese. So the language thing, and then the biggest feature we've added actually since we started, other than fixing various bugs, it was adding offline map support. So that went live about a week ago, and so you can now run the app. You can download your local region, and it'll do all the soundscape goodness offline.
Oh, that's great. And I know there have been so many calls to have this back. Well, not back, but have it on Android at all. Just before we move on, I know it's not particularly Android related. What sort of stuff does Tech Army do for charities? Does it sort of help them run their networks, or what does Scottish Tech Army do more generally?
So yeah, it's a good question. So they basically anyone from all over the world can non-profits and charities can say, hey, we've got a tech thing, we don't know what to do with it. And Scottish Tech Army have probably 3,000 or 4,000 people who have, volunteered at some point over the 4 years they've been going. And so a lot of it is websites, maybe from kind of simple WordPress sites to slightly more complicated things. But basically they have some of the volunteers are website designers, they're user experience people, they're business development people, and so they'll go through the process of talking to the charity and figuring out what the solution is that can help them. So yeah, if you have a charity that needs tech help, the Scottish Tech Army is a great place to get in touch with, and they'll do more complicated things like customer relationship management software and things that charities need to basically make them run more efficiently. And it's all for free, so it's all volunteer work, but it's done with the aim to be sustainable, so that the solution you get will carry on working, and there are volunteers that can help you keep it working and so on. Soundscape's kind of a bit of a weird edge case for them because it's not a single charity kind of thing, and it's it's a much bigger project than most of the stuff they work on.
Fantastic. Well, that sounds like a really excellent initiative. Melanie, can I come to you next? Do you want to say a little bit more about Code Factory? I know you did at the start, but perhaps give us a bit more detail.
Yeah, sure. Code Factory is not only an accessibility company more. We had to change the course of the company over the years a little bit, especially, as you all know, we started off doing just screen readers for mobile devices. We started off with Symbian, and then we did the mobile phones for Windows. So that was our big thing for accessibility, actually the only thing we did in Code Factory. But obviously when all the OEMs started doing their own screen readers, we went into a different market providing text-to-speech to companies. And obviously we were always very strong also working with accessibility companies and offering them the Noah and Cerence technology, which also included Eloquence. And then we were lucky enough, so we got a chance to actually bring out Eloquence on Android, like, what was it, 10 years ago, probably, for the first time. And it was hugely successful. And unfortunately, very quickly, there were pirated versions on the market. So we could not continue going on with the Eloquence on Android because it was just not worth it. And then when 64-bits come out, luckily the not legal version stopped working. And that was our push to say, okay, do we want to do this again? Do we think people need Eloquence on Android? And when we started talking with our users and the admirers of Eloquence, I think it was pretty clear that this is something that's worth the effort from our side, and that we want to come back and that we want to keep Eloquence alive as long as people would like to use that voice. So this is our big comeback with Eloquence on Android. I hope we've been safer this time. I hope it's going to be almost impossible to get illegal copies of this version. So fingers crossed, no piracy this time. And we also hope that some of the accessibility companies that use text-to-speech in their products on Android are also interested to bring this voice back, because as you all know, it's one of the greatest voices of all times, and we just didn't want to keep this in a drawer and say, okay, we don't open this drawer ever again, and we just let it sit in there to die. So hopefully we bring, let's say, the past into the future, and this is going to be successful, and everyone that's using Android will be happy and will be able to enjoy this voice again.
Melanie, I want to thank you so much because we're not only celebrating the blind Android users 5th anniversary, but also I also want to take this opportunity to say we also celebrate the return of Eloquence, like you've mentioned. And frankly, whenever we talk about Eloquence, I'm looking at others. I'm not necessarily looking out for me. I love Eloquence, but especially for some of our brethren that are hard of hearing, Eloquence seems to be that magic that opens up those ears, if I could put it that way. And so they're able to hear it a little bit better when compared to other TTS engines. And so, frankly, as we celebrate the 5th anniversary of the Blind Android Users podcast, I also am celebrating with you guys, and so importantly that it comes to the Play Store again, returning to the Play Store. And I know that we've been bothering you guys for a long time to bring baby back on. And so we're so thankful that finally you guys heard us, and now we have it. And so congratulations to you and the entire team at Code Factory for making this possible. And we celebrate this with you. And when it turns a year, we're going to do a big celebration for you guys.
Thank you very much, Brian, for your very kind words. We appreciate us being on your show. We appreciate having the possibility to be part of your 5-year anniversary show. We all know nowadays having things going on through the years is not as easy as it used to be. So I think 5 years is a great milestone for you guys. And hopefully we can celebrate. Let's go even further in 5 years. Our 5 years on Android and your 10-year anniversary.
That would be a wonderful thing. Let's hope so. And I'll come now to Eric, our final developer I think we have with us. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more than you said in the intro, Eric, about what you've got.
Yeah, I'm an Android developer for many years now, and that's also what I do for a living. But I, besides that, love that free software idea, open source and collaboration and all of that stuff. I'm also using Linux for many, many years now. And so, yeah, I also started to develop some apps in my free time. And as I said, I already been there last year on the podcast. And so, yeah, I had another small app, and it was there, I think, 8 or 9 years or so, and it worked. But lately, I got a pull request from someone else who found that app on GitHub, and he did so much work, and that's what I mean with that cool free software thing. He just found the app, and he managed to get involved into my code there, and that's every developer knows that's not the easiest thing to do. And so he started to do things, and then I thought, okay, now it's the time to get some work done myself for the app again. And after that was done, I thought, why not just promote that again here on the podcast? And yeah, that's the story about that. The app, and it's, by the way, it's a very small and a niche app, I think so, and I didn't expect to get an invitation here, but yeah, why not? So maybe you can talk about the app later on if you want.
Well, I think you should tell us what the app is. That would be
Okay,
good.
okay.
Yeah. Tell us now.
Yeah, fine. It's just a small app which basically can vibrate the current time. And that's something, the idea itself is around, since there are phones which can vibrate, of course. And yeah, I always like that, because especially if you're in a loud environment, let's say on a concert or something like that, you want to know the time, and it's difficult even if you have headphones on. And so I started to look for that, and I didn't find anything in 2015 or so. And so I just thought I develop that myself. And the basic idea is you do a double click on the power button of your phone, and then the time is vibrated. And yeah, that's the main idea. And from there, the app got some other features, like you can vibrate on an interval like 10 minutes or every hour or so. But I think the main thing why the app is still there is that power button double click. At least that's my motivation and my main use case for that.
That is great, but I was kind of wondering maybe if it's customizable to where I could, instead of, say, double press to feel the vibration or tell the time, if there could be a triple tap, because by default, some phones and the Pixel phone and Motorola phones, I'm looking at you. If you double tap the power, you're taking a picture or turning on the camera, rather. So I'm kind of thinking maybe if there could be another option to where one could choose as to how many power presses he or she would prefer. I think that would be great.
Yes, of course, that comes to mind. Others liked the idea of the power button as well. And the thing is, it's unfortunately not doable for me as a, let's call it a standard developer. I'm not someone who can go into phones, firmware, and something like that. The problem is you can't really capture button clicks on Android any longer, especially if your app runs in the background. And so what the app does is it's not really capturing the power button click, but instead it checks if you turned on and off the screen. And therefore, the power button is the obvious choice for it. your display is turned off, you click on the power button, the display turns on, and then you click again and it turns off again. And that's the trigger for
It
the
makes
app
sense.
to vibrate. And yeah, it's a hack, but unfortunately it's the only thing you can do. Others also requested it for some phones have other hardware buttons which can do something, and it's always the same story there. The only thing you can do is you can modify the interval, which in the app monitors the time between the display is switched on and off. And so it's in the default setting, it's 1.8 seconds max. So if you turn it on and you turn it off 10 seconds later, you don't want to get that vibration in your way. But for example, if your phone uses the double click for something, then you at least could say, okay, then the vibration starts with a very slow double click. It's not that mouse click, double click, it's more a click, click. And so it's at least it's doable. But yeah, as I said, it's the only thing you can change there.
In keeping with our celebration of the 5th anniversary of the Blind Android Users podcast, I reached out to Xavier and Edward from Code Factory asking if they could give us a couple codes for annual subscription to some of our lucky listeners, a couple of them. And to my surprise, while Google does not allow them to do that, it allows a maximum of 90 days. And so they've given us a bunch of codes. And so if you're interested in this, just send us an email and we're going to do a lottery. And the lucky ones will get what we have. And again, I want to thank Code Factory for letting us do this, or for them doing this, and especially because it was the lady power, Melanie, there. And I didn't know who it was that was making this possible. It happened to be her. And so, boys and gals, we got Melanie to be thankful for. And while she cannot prep you dinner, she can give you codes. And so don't go asking her, though, because she already has given it to us. So thank you, Edward from Code Factory and Xavier from Code Factory, and most importantly, to the lady, Melanie. Thank you so much, Melanie.
Thank you, Warren. You're more than welcome. And I hope the lucky winners will enjoy their Eloquence licenses on Android. Thank you so much.
We've been here for 5 years. Android 11, I guess it was. We just had 3-finger gestures and talkback. They then took them away from various phones in TalkBack 9.1. I remember that being a very annoying thing, and made them Google and Samsung specific at the start. But let's open it up. What's been everyone's sort of biggest change, biggest improvement? What have you enjoyed about how Android has developed over the past 5 years? Who wants to kick us off?
Well, I'm glad that even though I don't have this right now, when I get a Pixel, I will be able to. Dictation, double tap with 2 fingers to start dictation. That one is a huge game changer, I think. And because I use dictation a lot, and I think it will be easier for me once I'm able to use TalkBack 16, which would be on a Google Pixel, which I totally want.
Works on my Samsung because I already sideloaded 16.2 on there, and works fine on my Samsung device, for example.
Yeah, I don't think that's a Pixel exclusive.
The only
feature.
requirement is Gboard.
Yeah.
You need to be using Gboard. The phone shouldn't matter.
What about other people? What's been the biggest change for you, or the thing you've appreciated most over the past 5 years?
Well, the whole thing, man. For the last 5 years, multi-gestures, Magic Tab, the image description, the evolvement of the actions, man, the whole thing's all around huge development.
Yeah, I'd have to agree there. The image descriptions built into TalkBack makes a big difference as well.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, I
I'm with
think
you
that-
boys about the image description, Jacob and Harith.
Yep.
Really, so it used to be that I wasn't that keen on the camera description, image description. I used to give Karen a bad time about it, but frankly, finally my eyes got opened, so to speak.
Absolutely. Yeah, and each for their own what you call scenarios. Myself with my day-to-day jobs and lots of bills and lots of receipts and banking stuff, I used to have like difficulties with like saving the image, sending it to the computer, OCRing it with my offline ABY, whatever. It was like a huge hassle to do those things. So, man. Nowadays, it's just like it's as simple as a single gesture, and you got the description for that thing. If it's not a very personal, very sensitive issue, of course.
Indeed. And so I really like that image description. Yesterday, I was standing in front of a Christmas tree, and I'm like, Julia, watch. And so I pull out my phone, launch the camera app, my Pixel 10 Pro XL. I swipe down with two fingers, and it says, it sees a freshly cut Christmas tree with some posters on the wall and stuff around it, and it described it. It's just absolutely beautiful. And so if I wanted to take that picture, I could then take that picture at that moment. And so I'm really thankful for the image description. I used to think I didn't need it, but now I'm a believer.
Are you a believer? Would you have it describe the current dry nutrition event?
I would describe that dry.
It would say as usual, same old, no drinks, no food, not even what do you call them? Finger sandwiches or whatever.
Yeah,
That's
but
the funniest thing.
at least I got some pretty ones in here, so that will suffice. How about that?
That should do.
Yeah, at least we agree on something.
That should do.
I think one of the better things is the OCR capabilities. I think Harith was talking about that a little bit with receipts and stuff, but being able to take a picture of a document and it recognize it, I mean, it's pretty accurate now, I think, for the most part. There's not too many hallucinations and whatnot, but so that's one thing with the advent of AI and all that. You have the hallucinations and, it's still in the infancy, I guess you could call it, but I think it's been mentioned on this podcast before, whatever we're at now, it can only get better from here. At least we hope so, and that we don't go backwards like over in Fruitville.
For me, Android, I came when I had my Galaxy S9 and you didn't have multi-finger gestures, but you still get the latest TalkBack. At least as I've last seen, I got TalkBack 16. But nowadays, it's very, very different. You have all the new gestures that they've implemented, and even Braille display support has gotten a boost. You can actually use the NLS e-reader now, and I have one. So I give that a plus. I call that a pass.
Another one that I like is that spell last utterance. It's something I've been complaining about for the longest time, because if I'm on a word, I don't want to go into TalkBack menu and tap on spell last utterance or whatever. And so when they finally brought it back, brought it in, I think that was what, John, maybe as of Android, was it 15.x or I don't remember, but definitely I think it was last year when that got implemented. And I remember, John, you are telling me, hey, now Warren, you should be happy we now have that. And so I'm really thankful, because a lot of times I'm reading something and I want to find out a particular spelling of a word that I'm not familiar with, or some name that I want to know the spelling of, and I just use the gesture assigned to it and it spells it. And so for me, it's a win-win situation, a big change. I love it.
So a change you really need, Dave. You need to be able to navigate by word and character everywhere, and I don't know why you can't. Like on any icon, on any list, on any Telegram message. I don't know why this is not a thing you can do. You must surely be able to navigate by word or character wherever you are in the operating system and on whatever element. I don't get why you can't do that.
Yeah, I agree. If TalkBack has said it to you, it knows the words and letters because it said it to you. So why can't it just keep it in memory, even if you technically can't interact with the element for whatever reason?
Like the smart, do they call it smart actions, or like it recognizes different items so that you can have actions on them. So you have to like change like say you're in a Google Messages, you're on a text thread, and you tap on the message, and then you have to change the granularity to be able to.
That's right, but sometimes the granularities aren't available. So if you like go in your inbox, for instance, you can't switch the character. I'm saying you should be able to switch the character or word wherever you are.
Yeah. Well, I just didn't know if like that was like part of the underlying reason as to why. Google.
You were never able to do it. No, even before actions, you couldn't do it.
Yeah, but let's say this though. Ed, you mentioned like spelling icons, for example, or switch your I can say that word, granularity to character. For example, say I'm on a home screen, you should be able to switch the character navigation if you're on an icon. And you want to,
if they added virtualize the current screen to TalkBack, that would be doable easily, but it's not virtualized. Even with JAWS, you cannot do it with JAWS unless you switch to the cursor, JAWS cursor.
Yeah, so I mean, you can, for example, here,
home screen,
here,
folder,
let's go to an icon.
SMS backup.
So if I do
Characters, capital S, capital M, capital S.
No, Warren.
Yes.
I want you to go to Telegram. No, go
Warren's
to Telegram.
doing the demonstration. He knows it's going to work.
Yeah,
Warren,
some places you
go
can.
to Telegram, Warren, and find a message.
No, well, Telegram, we know it doesn't work in Telegram.
And this is what I'm literally saying. That was my request.
If the label, Warren,
let me hang on. He was saying if it's a system, you are saying that icons, one could not go character by character, and that's why I'm saying at least you can do that. But it's not the Telegram that's not working. So I just wanted to kind of separate what is real and what is not.
Well, I think we all agree that it works most places.
Yeah.
There's
no argument about that.
Yes.
Yeah, but one thing I want to say here is, I'm sorry, Warren, to disappoint you, but Jisho works well with Telegram messages. You can move by words. You can navigate by characters, lines, whatever you want. So no, they don't have line navigation, sentences actually. So so you can do
because it uses almost a totally different browsing layout, like JAWS.
This is not what we are talking about. Actually, if Jisho is able to do it, TalkBack can do it. So
if it depends on a different framework, they need to add it in TalkBack to be able to do so, because like the OCR everything, like OCR everything on Joshua, it's not doable with TalkBack because it's not even implemented as a service. So,
but there's no OCR service in Joshua in the TalkBack.
No, in TalkBack there is none.
Yeah, but this is a different thing. Actually, the thing related to this screen is because TalkBack always needs to focus on something. So when you focus on something, but actually they worked on that, and you now have the ability to describe the entire screen, unless if there is nothing that you can focus. This is another thing.
Well, sometimes it can focus, but still it won't do the character by character. It can read maybe IDs, and it won't do the character by character on them. It would jump jump through controls and such.
This is a different thing. You're talking about two unrelated things. The focusing mechanism
because they're not related. The way Joshua, the way Joshua deals with the screen different. It's way different from TalkBack.
Yeah, there's nothing that there is no objection regarding this. But what I'm talking about is that TalkBack is able actually to see the message. It's able to see the item. It's able to read it. And I think that I didn't try it, but if you try to spell, I think it will do it. Did anyone try that? Looks like no one did it.
What do you mean? You mean like spell a word?
When I tried to do it.
No, spell the
If I
message.
recall correctly, it does spell it because I feel
does
like
spell
that's
it,
my
yes.
workaround.
Does it? Okay, so it's able to see the message. It's able to see the content. So
Well,
I
it's
don't think
different.
that
It's related. It's as related as the difference between the way NVIDIA browses the computer, the say control panel, and JAWS, how it browses the control panel.
All right,
Sometimes
but there
this,
could be workarounds.
yeah, exactly. You're talking
that's
about
what I'm talking
workaround.
about.
Yeah,
and from TalkBack itself, because this is a known application. Okay, I know what Google does, but I'm talking about the principle itself.
how
So-
many browse modes Joshua have?
Oh, a lot. But I'm talking about the
How many of those TalkBack have?
nothing. Only the
There you go. That's
Okay,
the whole thing. The
but-
Joshua framework and the way it works and the services it offers, it's totally different from TalkBack. It's a different thing.
But it doesn't have to be that complicated.
It
is what we're
doesn't
saying.
exactly. It doesn't have to be that
Like
complicated.
TalkBack
Just
could
just
say-
like exactly. If you remember,
TalkBack could say, if I can't
yeah,
interact
yeah.
with this certain item with words and characters granularities, then just remember the last thing I said, and let me go through that thing by word or character because I already know.
Yeah, just like copy and append, just like the multi-gesture thing with the Samsung framework, it was doable. While TalkBack back then, the team used to say it's impossible to do. So it's a thing need to be added, like a new service need to be added. And I
So
think
here,
it's not as simple.
here I am, guys. I got Telegram open, and I don't think it
That
works.
took a while, Warren.
For example, I'm in our blind group. Here's a message.
He had to log in.
See,
But what happens if WhatsApp desktop isn't backward compatible?
So,
even if the MS store
I'm
doesn't
gonna
update,
switch
the app
to,
has a mind of its own characters,
okay.
words, reply, Android,
See,
evangelist.
Doesn't work.
so it's not reading
It's not reading the message.
the
which is what we
message
said
that
would happen.
that's Nahash's wrote.
Okay, Warren, try to spell it. Try to use the spell last. What do you call it? Spell last utterance.
SNEHASHI.
Oh, so it's spelling Nahash's, yeah.
It does work when you do that.
Space WHA.
So why wouldn't it give me word?
I know, Warren.
Yeah,
This is
that's
what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
exactly what we're
Yeah.
saying.
That is bad. That's
That's a
bad.
lag thing.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
TalkBack's lags here, big time.
I know.
Yeah, no,
that was my
no
point.
comparison when you talk about this and the confused screen reader. 'cause
Yeah,
I
no
think
comparison, of
the
course.
confused reader has
Yeah.
done it for the longest time. And
Yeah.
so we would love to see if there's a fix for it, unless, of course, it used to happen that WhatsApp didn't do it too, but I don't know what WhatsApp did, and it works. So Telegram guys, if you're listening, fix baby.
No, it's
soon.
not. It's not a Telegram issue.
It's not Telegram. It's somewhere else and
needs to
somewhere
be-
else and somewhere
So
else.
you
Depends
think it
on
was the TalkBack guys that fixed WhatsApp and didn't fix Telegram then?
No. I'm saying this needs to work universally. So it also won't work in
Yeah.
the message list. Like if you're in Aquamail or Outlook or anywhere, you can't like check a sender's name spelling in the message list. TalkBack
Well,
doesn't need to fix
how
it.
about
I think
this?
VoiceOver
Make
does
it
fix
simple, Warren.
Yeah.
Tell them. Well, the people with the trusted testing program need to tell them whatever read by TalkBack, it should be read character by character, word by word, because it's not the case with many places.
That totally makes sense. But it still baffles me though that it works for WhatsApp and not for this one. And so that's why I'm thinking maybe there's something that WhatsApp group did that Telegram didn't, while we're still waiting for a permanent fix across the board from the developers of TalkBack. And maybe someone at TalkBack needs to be using Telegram to know what we're talking about.
Well, could it be that each app might have like different frameworks that they build upon, and that's why
user interface frameworks.
Yeah.
As a software developer, user interface frameworks are a major issue in terms of accessibility, and there are workarounds, but not always.
Warren, if you check the narrator on Windows, if you use it in the regular mode, it wouldn't do. It would be exactly like TalkBack. It would read everything, but it won't do like character by character, whatever, in many places. But if you do the scan
bad.
mode, it would do character by character, word by word, whatever.
I think VoiceOver does character by character, doesn't it? I can't remember when I was on
Um,
iOS
I
not being
ne-
able to do that. I'm
Never
pretty
used
sure.
it.
John, do you know?
It's just like virtualizing the
I
window.
assumed it. I assumed it would work on VoiceOver.
I'm pretty sure VoiceOver does. I've never had that
But
issue
at,
when I
at
was
this point, we're
using it.
only making assumptions.
I don't use it enough. I know there is a character granulation. I don't use it enough to know it works everywhere.
Yeah.
John, when you're done, go grab Ash's iPhone.
I'm pretty sure it works.
Ash
It
gonna be
works.
mad at me.
It
Grab our
works
food
sometimes.
bill. and
I can't prove it works
Yeah.
everywhere.
No, I'm pretty sure when I had whenever I was using it 5 years ago, I don't like if I was in an inbox, for instance, I could always check the spelling of a name without having to open a message. I'm pretty sure it works better than TalkBack.
But Ed, this thing about the inbox, is that only particular though to Aquamail? Is that
Don't
what's
know.
going on?
Try it in Gmail.
In Gmail?
it does not work in Gmail. No.
Okay, so Dan
No.
says it doesn't work in Gmail.
Doesn't
so
work.
there's a,
Like, it's
problem.
rubbish.
There's a
Yeah.
problem. Underlining,
And it
underlying
cannot be
problem.
app by app. It cannot be app by app because there are millions of apps, right? So they just need to fix it university.
Another thing that kind of bums me out while we're complaining about things, and also I'll start by saying I agree that the image description and screen description is awesome, and I think that is the biggest, in my opinion, improvement over the last 5 years. But the problem is, and I don't know if there's any way to work around this, apps are allowed to block screen recording. If they block screen recording, it won't work. So if you're like in a banking app where they don't want screenshots taken, screen description won't work and image description will not work in that app. And same if you're watching, like say you're watching sports. I tried this on HBO Max. I was watching sports and I just wanted to know the score of the game, right? So try to do a screen description and it says you can't screen record in this app. So hopefully, if it's possible, I would like TalkBack to work around this restriction for itself.
You need to root the device. And
No, I'm not rooting the device. I'm saying
well, you wouldn't be able to do that because this is one of the most restricted stuff on Android. They won't do any allowance.
I
of
understand why it
that.
is. I'm
Not
just
even
saying
for
if-
accessibility, because many non-accessibility related apps do the accessibility service, and if they open it for accessibility, it would be open to
I'm not
anything
asking them to
else.
open up for any app requesting accessibility. I'm asking them to open it up for TalkBack.
Probably,
Pre-installed app.
yeah, probably maybe the bank app or the HBO or any like Netflix app need to be requested if they see TalkBack running, or say check the log if it's running all the time.
Again,
That's a blind user,
Again,
and
this
they
is-
need to do like a
Again, this is the same thing. Like it's easier just to fix it at the source if possible,
Yeah,
rather than expecting app developers to.
they have to
do
do
what
it
they
like
need to.
that. They
Yeah.
have to do it like that.
Like I
because
said, when I first started this, I don't know if there is a workaround, but if it's possible,
the only
easily
workaround
fixed
is rooting the device and telling the apps, well,
The workaround
I'm-
is
I'm-
to
I'm
get another
recording it.
phone.
Use a separate device. The
yeah,
workaround is
it-
different device.
just the device would tell them there's nothing wrong and nobody's recording and you're recording it.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, I'm going back to Gmail to try something. I got.
A NetBlind Android
So
user
that's our
automatic
forum. So I'm going to
reading
change.
new characters,
Let's go to Word.
words, forums, Annette, blind, Android, users.
So it does.
Automatic, notification, reading, 2.
So it does in Gmail.
Wait, where are you? Are you in a message or are you in the inbox list?
I'm in the inbox list.
New.
So if I open the message, let's see.
Navigate. Showing items. Unread. Gary Melkin. 15 messages.
So there's Gary.
Characters. Words. Compose.
See now I'm in the message.
It doesn't work, does it?
Gary Melkin.
Yeah, but then in the list,
User's image description.
it was
Share
able to.
characters.
Let's see. Now
Compose.
it doesn't work now that I opened the whatever. So is this inconsistency? You know, something needs to happen to where it behaves either it does or it doesn't. But
Yeah.
don't do it in one place in the same app, and yet in another part of the app is not working. So
Well, no, we need the inconsistency resolved in one way. We don't need to resolve it in a way where it doesn't work. Do we?
That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Do we? Like,
Yeah.
So it's either it doesn't work or it works, but don't do
no,
it.
Yeah,
it needs to work. Like, let's not resolve
No,
it where it doesn't
I'm
work.
with you that it needs to work, but all I'm saying is don't give me a half. I know some people say half.
Yeah,
bread is
well,
better than none.
I'm pretty sure the TalkBack developers know exactly what we're talking about, and they can by time, but they can add it as layered. If the data presented, if the accessibility event or data presented this way, virtualize it and make it presented as text. That way, it would be doable. So it would be layered, like general browsing. But if the data presented in a certain way, it would be read the same way the other stuff read. So I think that's the way Joshua done it. Probably, I'm just speculating here, and they can do it. I'm pretty sure they will do it if enough people requested it. They will do it. It's a lot
And
of
I
work,
do want-
but it's doable.
I do want to mention to developers, if you don't want to listen to us griping, you're free to go because now we're talking about some things that may or may not interest you. And I just want to say that to everyone, you know, as we're winding down. So, but we do want to say thank you to everyone who has come. And now that we're in this general discussion, if it's not of interest to you, please, you can feel free to leave.
My problem, I like to copy and paste a lot because I have a TT Media bot on my server, and when you use a TT Media bot and you have a radio station such as myself, you have to type U space and then the link to the radio station. Now I'm too lazy to actually type it out, so you have to type it out. You have to go copy and paste it. The problem is with pasting. You have to be directly on the edit box to get it into the edit box. If you don't, it'll say not editable, even if you're on the keyboard. Just being on the keyboard will go not editable, even though I have text to paste.
Yeah, well, so if it says it's not editable, whatever that word is, so basically you got to be in an edit field in order to make that work. Now, I do, however, agree with you. One thing that I would like to see, and we've beaten this dead horse to death, is the ability, though, to just, I term it discriminately select text from non-edit fields. For example, say I'm just reading something on the web, which is not an edit field, for example, and I want to just copy or select and copy some few words or whatever. I think that the confused screen reader does this.
Yeah, Karine will give me a big hug for saying that, but Jishu is doing that for years.
Yeah. So the confused screen reader does this, but yeah, so that's the part that I would love to see happen with TalkBack. We're still waiting on.
It's a basic thing, like to be able to copy and paste in. It's like excited people can do it easily from anywhere of the screen, just copying, pasting anything. But on TalkBack, how come we cannot do this in 2025, almost 2026? We should change this.
It has to.
Yeah, but sighted people can do it easily.
We can do it through maybe third-party apps and such,
Yeah,
but not with
exactly.
Yeah, but
TalkBack.
TalkBack should be able to do that.
Yeah. Again, if they add that, like virtualize the current window, it would be very doable.
Yeah.
History,
Unfortunately,
something like a speech history dialer.
yeah.
Well,
I
one thing
agree.
with the pasting, if you're not in the edit field, you can go up to the clipboard and paste it that way, but you can't use like your 3-finger
Yeah.
triple tap to paste it in unless
Yeah,
you do
and same
like
if you're
focus.
if the keyboard shortcut, like if you're using a keyboard, Control V will paste it even if the edit field's not in focus. So it's like, why can't TalkBack also do this? Like, why does it care if the edit box is in focus? If there isn't an edit box and there's a keyboard on screen, just paste it in the edit box.
All right. Any more praises or any decries? If I could say it that way.
I think we should call it good because you said edible
Wait,
rather than editable.
I have a quick
That
one.
means you're hungry.
I have a quick one. I like that split tap is here now. I've been wanting that for a while.
Oh yeah, you
That's all.
mentioned that last week, right? And so
Yeah.
you gave a use case scenario for it that I overlooked, which is really helpful. And it had to do with media, for example. I want to skip several times or whatever. And so to me, that's a great feature.
Yeah, and iOS has had it forever. Even Fire tablets have had it, so it's good that it's here.
Now we just have to get Samsung to just get rid of their own version of TalkBack and just use one version. I mean, that'd be so much easier for those of us in the blind community.
Get it gone.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
Yeah, we're calling out to you, Samsung, for example.
We
Stop
know
the
Samsung is
nonsense.
listening to this
Yeah.
podcast.
Stop the nonsense about your own store. Let's
How about just renaming the ID of the app to something else to enable the actual TalkBack to be installed? That's the simplest way if they didn't want to change the whole accessibility framework because of their own TalkBack.
Yeah, you should have a choice.
Yeah,
without having to sideload it.
They should have just give the other people, the people who don't want to use it, a choice to install the Google TalkBack.
Yeah, they could have just renamed
Yeah,
the package they already had
It
for
used
Sound
to be.
Assistant. They could just
Yeah,
have
yeah.
renamed the app TalkBack.
Yeah, it used to be have another name. What was the name of that?
Voice assistant.
Voice
Sound-
assistant.
Oh, yeah, I said Sound
yeah,
Assistant. I meant Voice
yeah.
Assistant. Yeah.
Used to
I'm
be
in
like that.
agreement with you. I'm in agreement with you guys. If it's so hard for them to do, since it's baked into the OS, for example, yeah, rename yours to
Yeah,
something
as simple as
bring back the
renaming
voice
it, yeah.
assistant back, or the naming scheme to voice assistant.
Just like Prudence. Prudence is
Yeah.
based on TalkBack source. So just like
Yeah.
Prudence, give it another name and be done with it.
And let us install TalkBack from
Yeah.
the Play Store, so we have both on there, and I can
Yeah.
switch to either one at ease without headaches. I think that would
Exactly.
be really good.
Exactly.
Do we think there's any credence to it possibly not being on the 26 phones, or do we think that was a scurrilous rumor?
It seems to me that, I mean, you don't know till the actual phones come out because it might be different on phones
Yeah.
that ship with the operating system. But as far as the beta, like I'm in the One UI 8.5 beta on my S25 Ultra, and it is there. They're running their own version of TalkBack 16.2, which, as usual, has basically none of the good. I mean, it has basic audio. I mean, image descriptions, but you can't ask follow-ups. You can't do a screen description. You can't do any online descriptions at all. Everything is done locally, and this is only on S25 models. Once it comes to older devices, they won't even have image descriptions at all.
Well, John, I look at it in like a wider perspective. The Samsung accessibility framework forked out of Google's since the days of S6, if I remember correct, Warren. Since S6, they forked out of it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was
bringing it
S6.
back to the actual Google's framework, like stripping the whole source, and it's many terabytes of source code. Just like do it to all their devices, to bring down the whole thing, just because removing TalkBack. No, developing a new one, like TalkBack with the current source code of Google's would be much easier task of replacing the whole thing. That requires a lot of work. I'm talking about like a lot of work. It's deeply integrated to the whole system.
Yeah, and I don't know why this is so hard for them to do though, because
Yeah, they can just rename the app, rename the screen reader.
and or remove
Yeah,
it like
and
or remove it
by
like
the
we
way,
say.
their own accessibility framework is much better than Google's working with Joshua. People using Joshua love the way it works with Samsung, as far as I
Yeah,
know.
and so like I said, if they could get rid of their messaging app and just go with the messages from Google, why couldn't they do this for those
That's
past 12
not
months?
framework related. That's an app. That's just an app, Warren.
Yeah, well, it's just
Screen
an
reader
app,
is
but it was
this
part of
this
it
is
was part of
accessibility
the
framework.
OS. Yeah, but that was part of the OS. For example, I cannot remove the Samsung messaging app from my older Samsung phone because it's part of the OS. And so
Used
if
to
they
be
decide
system app,
later
yeah.
on to jettison that and go with Google, that's all I'm asking. If
Yeah,
they're doing some
it's
goodies
mean.
for
It's very mean when they change that voice, whatever, accessibility assistant or whatever voice assistant thing. When they rename it to TalkBack, that was mean. That was mean.
And they haven't brought any improvements. That's the thing. Like, it
No,
doesn't
no.
work better than Google's TalkBack. In fact, when they released One UI 8, it broke. They had that horrible bug where when you had the screen hidden, you can't use Explore by
You
touch.
can't use it.
And Google
the-
TalkBack worked perfectly.
I
Google
think
TalkBack
the
worked
only thing
perfectly.
it does, it works with the Samsung TTS. I think that's the only thing it
Yeah,
does.
and that's an artificial limitation that they put on.
Yeah.
Like, it's not
Yeah.
actually TalkBack that's
Yeah.
better. It's actually worse because they
Yep.
managed to break it somehow with Explore by touch, with the screen hidden.
Absolutely.
So I want to add on to the screen hidden thing because I used to use screen hidden. And I tried to use it when I got my Galaxy S25 FE and it just broke.
Yeah, that was a few months back.
They
They
have
they
fixed
done
it.
it. Yep.
They have fixed it about a month or two ago, so it is not an issue now. But yeah, that was a big issue because people
It is.
updating to One UI 8, if they had their screen hidden, they couldn't
Well,
get back into their phone because you have to swipe up with 2 fingers to put in your code. So they were just stuck.
And get this one. Once we were like on TalkBack beta, and they released the beta that causes the phone to be silent. Totally. Like as soon as you install TalkBack, it's gone. But they fixed it at the same day. Was it the same day, Warren? I think it was even quicker than the last
I
quickest
think so.
fix.
Yeah, well, I
it
think
was the
the
same.
image
Victor.
thing that they fixed, that's really quick. Also,
That was really quick, but the quickest one was on the beta. But that was a
Yes,
beta. That was a
you
beta,
are
not a
right.
release. Yeah, this is a
Yeah.
release thing. So this is definitely tasting the cake and the prize for the quickest one all
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
And I got, look, this is the first time I get like TalkBack update, the 16.2 update at maybe the first one to get it. I got it like days before I know I got it like a while before anybody else, and I got the fix probably
I still
before
haven't
other people.
technically got it. I had to sideload it.
Yeah, I didn't. I just got like the regular Play Store. My phone is ripped apart, rooted, modified, you name it. I've done it because it has the Chinese operating system. I have to strip it down of all the third-party stuff and install an actual firewall and block lots of apps from connecting to the internet. Do lots of crazy stuff. So I'm supposed to be the last to get those things. So probably
Yeah,
Google treats
but
people
it gave
differently.
it to you, so that was
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this is why we want Samsung to be on the same page and give us what we need. And so, yeah. All good things must end. Thus, it's curtain drawing time, bringing us to the close of this week's episode. Coming up, though, we give you information on how to get hold of us. Well, folks, that has been such a wonderful time celebrating our 5th anniversary, and we therefore come to the end of this celebration. We're looking forward to seeing you guys in January for our first open quarter listener session of 2026. Until then, though, before we close today's episode, here's John to give you information on how you can get hold of us. Here's John to give you that info.
To contact us, simply send an email to contactus@blindandroidusers.com. If you'd prefer, you can leave a voicemail by calling +1 307 202 9797. You can join our mailing list by sending a blank email to Blind Android Users plus subscribe @groups.io. You can join our Facebook and Telegram groups or subscribe to our YouTube channel using the links in the podcast show notes or YouTube video description. And you can find all of this information and more at our website, blindandroidusers.com.
Thank you so much, John, for that information. And with that, we want to say goodbye to you. From me, I want to say goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Have a great week. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thanks for listening.
Farewell, everyone.
Good one. Have a good new festive season, Christmas, etc. if you celebrate.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
¡Feliz Navidad desde España!
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Blind Android Users Podcast. Until we see you next week, don't forget to leave us your comments and suggestions via our email contact or using any of our social media sites. Have a great week.